On
So,
to John Morant.
Ja to the Blazers, bro. That was kind of out of
Crazy.
nowhere. Obviously,
Yeah.
we knew Ja was getting traded, but to the Blazers, I had no clue he would go there. So, Ja to the Blazers for Jeremy Grant and Chris Murray.
Straight up.
How are you feeling about this, bro? No picks involved.
Zach, all I have to say is I said it earlier, and I will say it till the day I die. A year ago, around this same time, people were saying John Morant, Trey Young, LaMelo Ball, their trade values fell off a cliff. They are negative assets. You cannot get any draft capital for them. John Morant, you couldn't get any draft capital for him. Trey Young, you couldn't get any draft capital for him. But the one guy you could was LaMelo Ball, baby. You got Nas Reed, you got 6 picks. Who knows what's going to happen with the pick swaps? But at the end of the day, dude, we still got one unprotected. We have one of those pick swaps that might be ours as well. So either way, worst case scenario, we're going to have 2 first round picks. We're going to have 3 second round picks. And we got Nas Reed. That whole package alone is better than John Morant and Trey Young, whatever they got combined. It's so much better. And I applaud the Hornets organization for being able to bring LaMelo out of the fire, bro, because it took a lot to be able to let LaMelo seem healthy enough. A lot of stress came from it, but at the end of the day, it paid off, and it paid off immensely. Um, but for me personally, the John Morant trade that the Blazers did, I actually kind of like it for the Blazers because at this point they did make the playoffs. They did give the Spurs a little bit run for their money, in my opinion. I actually felt like they did pretty well um, for what they had to deal with against them. I think they stole 2 games against them, didn't they, in their series?
It was one or two. I don't remember
I
off the
know it
top
was
of
at
my
least
head,
one, but
but
I
it
can
was
remember if it was
competitive.
2. Yeah.
It was a
So
competitive
like
series.
So like getting rid of Jeremy Grant and Chris Murray, who I don't even think they were really playing Jeremy Grant that much in the playoffs. Like, and I don't even think in the regular season they were playing him much either. I mean, I could be wrong, but at the end of the day, like taking a shot on John Moran in this scenario, I really don't hate it because especially like if John Morant can even give you, I would say like 80%. He doesn't even have to give you full production of what he used to be. I would say even just 80%, like being a pretty comparable franchise guard for your team. I mean, I would take that all day. Like it's not every day you get to have a franchise guard. And if John Moran
Hmm.
can be that piece for you and you can kind of keep him out of trouble, then I mean, I would take the chance. And plus if he causes trouble, you only gave up Jeremy Grant and Chris Murray. You didn't really give up
Who
much
you
for him.
wanted to give up anyway.
Exactly.
Like
Like,
they've been trying to get off that contract forever, so
yeah, yeah,
might as
yeah.
well take like a low risk, high reward player. So I do applaud them for that. Like you said, I kind of like it for the Blazers. Now it is interesting because this feels like there will be another move for the Blazers because with all the guards they have with Scoot, you got Damian Lillard, Drew Holiday, and now Ja Morant. Doesn't seem likely that they would keep all those guys. So I feel like another move is on the horizon. It's going to be interesting and probably maybe a learning curve, like how they fit together. I'm assuming Dame is safe out of those guards, of course, and obviously they'll have Ja. But I don't think Ja's like the best if he's off the ball. And then you have to have Damian Lillard with the ball. You have to have Ja with the ball. And then, Denny, he likes to have the ball, and especially in transition. So that'll be kind of like an interesting experiment to see how they can work together. But like you said, there's not really a downside to this at all. And think about the best case scenario. Like, what if Ja goes back to somewhat what he was? You just have like an instant ceiling raiser and a franchise point guard for basically nothing, a bag of chips and a Diet Mountain Dew. That's great value for them, man. And so I like what they're doing. Portland, they're very interesting. They're kind of dangerous, dude, because they have all these players. They have vets and they also have young talent and they have assets. And so, I don't even know who their GM is, but he has
He's
a lot of
cooking.
reins to kind of do whatever he wants. So it's pretty exciting if you're a Trailblazers fan.
Yeah, I really like what the Trailblazers are doing. They remind me a lot of what the Hornets are doing. They're just both as teams kind of on different paths right now because I feel like the Trailblazers have maybe found their franchise guy already in Denny. We'll see as time continues if he might even elevate further. Um, but dude, Denny's looking really good as a first option. Um, and that's really all the Hornets are missing. Now, if like Brandon Miller comes out to be that guy, I could see both teams very compared. Like you just have this crazy amount of just assets and contracts that are very movable on your team. Um, and you can really make any trade that you want if need be. And even if Denny's not that guy, you still have the assets to go get a guy like Jalen Brown if need be.
Yeah, and that's been the team that has been rumored the most for Jalen Brown as of recent.
And
So by
still,
the time this podcast comes out, who knows? He might be on a team that's not the Trailblazers, but they have the exact assets. I think right now the holdup would be Donovan Clingan. I'm pretty sure that's who the Celtics want, and if the Trailblazers were willing to offer him, the deal would have been done by now. But there's a world if Boston decides, okay, we're not going to get proper value back for Jalen Brown. The Trailblazers, like this trade doesn't nullify them from Jalen Brown. Like a lot of people have the Jeremy Grant contract and a potential Celtics trade, but you could just as easily throw Drew Holiday in that with the salary. So you could throw Drew Holiday, Sharp, and some picks for Jalen Brown, something like that. Um, so they can do whatever they want. They could stay put and they'll be fine. They can trade for Jalen Brown and that would be great. They have a lot of wiggle room to do something, so it'll be fun to see what they do. But I guess for the Grizzly side, like, what do you think of this trade? Like, you obviously you had to get rid of John Morant. That was no surprise to anyone. There's no leverage there. And so they get back Jeremy Grant and also Chris Murray, who's an interesting young player. I mean, do you have anything for their side of things?
I mean, it was going to be a lose no matter what. So I feel bad for Grizzlies fans, but no matter what, this trade was going to be an L. There was no way of resurrecting this. So out of all trades, I wish I could see what all those trades did look like. But getting a guy like Jeremy Grant back, I mean, he's still playable. He's going to be a good vet for you. And with all the young guys the Grizzlies now have on their team, having guys like Cameron Boozer and Zach Edey, you're just going to have Jeremy Grant, who's a guy that can be in their ear on the bench, just being a good vet, and you need those. Even when you're rebuilding teams, you need those. So they were going to lose regardless. But at the end of the day, you could have saw John Morant walk, and luckily that didn't happen. That would have been worst case scenario. Regardless, you needed to trade him before training camp happened, or even summer league. My opinion was you needed him out the door by summer league because even before training camp, you have summer league and in summer league, you still have most of the roster meeting up and stuff, and the players and stuff meeting each other after the draft and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And, I guess in a sense you could call it an okay package to get back for John Morant because there are even people speculating that they would have to throw in a pick for someone to take on John Morant. So, at the very least, they didn't have to do that. Obviously, we know what Jeremy Grant is, but who knows? Maybe Chris Murray can, find himself a
He's still
role in
younger. Yeah.
Memphis. Yeah. So